What if I told you there's a hidden connection between Five Nights at Freddy's and 90 Day Fiancé? It might seem nonsensical at first, but hear me out. Season 8 of the hit show 90 Day Fiancé shows two people in a relationship that revolves around surveillance cameras, with Sheena as the observer and Forrest as the observed. Forrest finds it comforting, as it provides a strange, arguably artificial form of closeness. However, his family questions Sheena's intentions and character while she's thousands of miles away in another country, possibly serving as a wider metaphor for the rise of technology, which has brought us the entanglement of national identity, culture, and all the other geopolitical echoes that come with it. It's tempting to want to compare their roles to the features you use as a security guard in Five Nights at Freddy's, such as closing and opening doors at just the right time to conserve energy, as well as putting on masks when appropriate. But there's possibly something even deeper and far more concrete that lies beneath the surface. A Panopticon is a type of institutional building designed by Jeremy Bentham in the 18th century, further expanded on in the context of mass surveillance by philosopher Michel Foucault in the 1970s. It's a circular structure with a central tower, allowing a single observer to watch multiple cells or rooms without being seen. The idea is that the observer can monitor everyone, but the observed often can't see the observer, creating a power imbalance. This design was meant for prisons, hospitals, and other institutions to exert control and discipline. The concept has been extended to describe any system where individuals are under constant surveillance, often influencing their behavior. Think surveillance cameras, social media monitoring, or even reality TV shows like Big Brother and Fish Tank. In essence, the Panopticon represents a state of being constantly watched, leading to self-censorship and a sense of control exerted by the observer. As one anonymous individual said through a meme years ago, in a mass surveillance state, we're all cam girls. The legalization and normalization of voyeurism, the further forced submission of man, and the quelling and redirection of their rebellious spirit in a time of ever-increasing civil unrest. Some people will point out the upsides to this, like the once more common serial killer being forced into near extinction out of a fear of being caught almost instantly by advanced surveillance technology like Flock AI, which has its own long list of controversies and false accusations, not entirely unlike actual human errors, and corruption in and of itself. Some have wondered if this can extend to the afterlife in the context of reincarnation, where debt companies can collect on debts left over from past lives, though this seems like a stretch. In practice, companies would undoubtedly do so if they could. As Foucault said about plague towns, everyone locked up in his cage, everyone at his window, answering to his name and showing himself when asked. It is the great review of the living and the dead. This is the reality for all of us in spirit, maybe even in established practice. You can at least say, with utmost certainty, they'll never leave you alone, not even in death. Robert Eggers' 2019 film, The Lighthouse, possibly shows us the more mystical side of being in charge of the Panopticon and vying for control of it. Even though lighthouses aren't used for surveillance, the power dynamics between the movie's doomed characters parallel it almost perfectly. The lighthouse represents enlightenment, a greater say in things, with a subordinate wanting the position, even if he has to kill for it. The lighthouse attempts to warn you against wanting such power by showing us that doing so will just lead to an endless cycle of gaining and losing power. The dream of the oppressed is to become the oppressor is certainly true, but to completely give up and abandon altruism and true peace isn't the answer either. The keys of a better world must not be given to people that simply say they deserve it or because they held them first. Movies like 13 Cameras and its sequels portray people who spend their lives watching other people through screens as creepy, and the antagonists of these films certainly are and then some. But the average person is hardly any better, with spending their days stalking different people on social media, comparing themselves to others, wanting what others have, and maybe even learning others' weaknesses from their more vulnerable posts so they can use it against them when the time is right. Maybe one day the watcher at the top of the Panopticon will leave us to watch other things out of boredom, having gathered enough footage to entertain themselves for the rest of their allotted time, leaving us to watch ourselves in our own prisons. Maybe someday we'll have to have a similar setup in Five Nights at Freddy's, where we have to watch cameras and close heavy doors at just the right time to conserve the energy we have left, where shows like 90 Day Fiancé won't be around anymore because the US and the rest of the West won't be worth moving to, where things like the internet and satellite will no longer exist because there will be no one left to maintain it.